and welcome back to another episode of Bounce with Laurentia on Didi Lauren TV, a channel that celebrates ordinary people doing extraordinary things. So please subscribe, like, share, and also click on that notification bell to get notified whenever I post new content. So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about leveling up. And sometimes when we think about level up, or when we hear people talk about level up, we think it's kind of a negative thing. We think, oh, you're talking about leveling up because you're looking down on somebody. That is not the case. So I was inspired to do this topic today because I came across a post on Twitter, and this lady basically talked about how she met her husband to be, and before then she graduated at an early stage at, I think she said at the age of 22. So after graduation she got a good job. She was earning about 250,000 naira. She was happy. She was the last child, so little or no responsibility. So she was just taking care of herself. She was saving her money, and before the age of 30, she was able to buy multiple properties and had tenants in different locations, getting, still working and have different businesses plus, properties that was giving her income. So she met this guy and they were talking about marriage, did introduction. So she felt, okay, this is somebody that has committed to this marriage. For full disclosure, let me just tell him about my finances. So she told him that she had about 8 houses and she had different tenants who she gets money from. And the guy on his part, he was okay. He was, working, earning money. I think he didn't really think about what she was earning because I think he was earning more than her. He told her, oh, he's still trying to get things together to make investments. So she was like, okay, no problem. We could always work together and all that. 2 days later, he called her back and he said, well, for this marriage to work, after the wedding, you have to transfer all the properties to my name, and all the payments, the rent payment will be coming to my account. So this lady came online and she was asking for advice. She said, well, she don't want to sound like a feminist. She wants her marriage to work. She don't want to be like, oh, she's not submissive to her husband. So she was asking for advice. So as you can imagine, different people were giving her advice. Some people say, oh, you should leave the marriage. You should not even continue with the whole marriage. You should return the bride price. Don't go ahead with the marriage. Some people were like, oh, just get married to him, move on, and your property is his property. There was so much back and forth. And for me personally, I think there's something not right with somebody asking you to sign over everything you've worked for prior to meeting him and prior to the marriage. I mean, to him, this is somebody that has worked so hard, made her money, saved, made investments, and somebody's son just woke up one day and said, you know what, I am the man. Because I am the man, because I will be your husband, I would have to, be in charge of everything. And to me, that is control. One of the things people don't realize is it is easier for a man to marry somebody who is not really financially stable, or even if you can take care of yourself but you don't have investment. It is very easy for an established man to do that. And the lady coming in, she wouldn't really think about, oh, you have all this money, give me or transfer everything to my name, or I want joint this. When you're doing this, make sure you put my name on every document. The ladies don't really think about those things because they believe your money is my money. I mean, nobody goes into any marriage thinking there's going to be any problems. So from the people I know that have gone into those unions, for the ladies, they never really talk about those things. They just go in there believing this this is for the two of us. But one thing I've realized in terms of a lady marrying somebody that she is probably have more investments than, this is not even about salary, this is not even about what you're earning. I think it's more depends on if the guy has not really had that mindset of investment and they're just living Instagram life, living above their means, so they are earning the money but that money is just going quickly. And a lady who is thinking about investment, thinking about the future, when you meet certain people, they feel intimidated. And the only way, because when, especially in African settings, when a guy marries a girl, it's a man's world. He could literally go out, do whatever he wants to do, come in. I'm not saying that's allowed. I'm just saying the mindset. I mean, even people will tell you, are you leaving your husband because he's cheating on you? Are you leaving your husband because he's cheating on you? When a guy is financially stable, it's easier for him to control the lady. It's easier for him to do whatever he wants to do and get away with it. But when the shoe is on the other foot, when the lady is the one who is financially stable and can provide for the family, the man feel, okay, since, when you talk about men, it's like, oh, they are the providers. When they realize they're no longer the providers, when, table has turned, they realize, okay, I cannot longer get away with anything I do. So the only way to kind of control that situation is to say, give me everything you make, or give me whatever you've acquired before we met. It doesn't matter if it's family, if it's your sweat, it doesn't matter. And when you go into that union, it becomes a bit complicated. So for this lady, I would give an example. Sometimes you can't tell people what to do. You can only advise them based on similar situations. So what I will say is, I will give an example of Nollywood actress Iniedo. Iniedo a few years ago met Philip. Philip was previously married. Philip was married to another lady, but according to her, they divorced before they started dating. So she married Philip. Philip wasn't really that financially, he was okay on his own right, but she had more investments than Philip, and that was not a problem. During the initial stages of the marriage, it wasn't a problem. Iniedo was happy to help her husband find his footings and do different businesses and investments, and he was happy for her to help. This was according to both parties. They got married, and Iniedo kind of, sometimes when you work hard, you don't know when God will bless you. So I think maybe she started getting much more money after then. So she bought a house in Lekki. When she was about to buy that house, according to Iniedo, she told the husband that this is the house that I want to buy, and he said, you must put my name in the property papers and everything. Like, it has to be a joint property. And she said, no, this is my property. I don't have to put your name in the property. I've given you money to do several businesses. You can buy your own property. You can buy your own property. And Philip was like, well, if you are not giving me half of the property, if you're not putting my name in the property, this marriage is over. Iniedo thought it was, a joke. She bought the house without his name on the papers, and Philip packed his bags and moved to Ghana. And that was the end of the marriage. Later on, Philip said, oh, it was due to infidelity that the marriage ended. Iniedo on her part denied the infidelity accusation. I think it's an individual thing. If a man knows what he wants and knows he could go out there and make money for himself, I don't think anybody will be looking at anybody's money. I mean, we live in a West where you have a lot of women who earn far more than men, and we're talking about, white families now, and you don't even notice all those things because the men are not really intimidated. They don't really care as long as they are working, earning their money, and the wife is working, earning her money, and the bills are being paid. And if there's an investment, they are both, planning towards that. Nobody really cares. Don't force it on anybody. That is one thing I've realized. Don't force, even if you're trying to make something that is going to be beneficial for the both parties. Once one party is saying, I don't want this, it is left for you to withdraw from that arrangement. Not really the marriage, but for that financial agreement. Do your own thing and let the other person do their own thing. When it's time to come together to do things, make sure both parties are contributing towards that. So all I can say, lady, think about what you're getting yourself into. I mean, the whole reason why I had to elaborate on Inedo's situation is to tell ladies that there's this thing called red flags. There is, what you ignore today will come to bite you at the back tomorrow. So what if you get into this marriage and you've signed everything over to him and he mismanaged it? You don't know why he doesn't have investment. Maybe he's one of those people that are MMM inclined, Ponzi scheme inclined. What if somebody comes and tells him, what, if you bring 10 million, you're going to get 100 million, so just bring that money and you're going to get this amount of money, and he basically sells off everything to invest in that, and you don't even know because now you've signed off everything to him. You don't even know, and he sells off all the assets and properties and put it in whatever Ponzi scheme or whatever investment he thinks will yield more money, and you lose everything. That is even worse. That is even worse because it's a two-sided coin that we have to really understand what we're getting ourselves into. So my advice to that lady is, sit down, think about it. If you can survive the heart attack of losing all those properties, if you can survive the heart attack of losing all those properties that you've labored for so many years to build up, then sign those documents over to him and take the chance. If you cannot do that and you think tomorrow if he sells off everything then you're going to divorce him, then don't even get into it. One thing about leveling up is it's not about finances. You must have leveled up spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically, and you've built yourself up to a certain level of, calm and peace. And then you meet somebody that thinks, what, I am the man, all I need to do is just to, be the man, and, you don't need to do anything else. And that person comes into your life and disrupts all this calm, peace, your mental health. That would affect you so much. It will affect you because that person has, you're on this level of calmness, peace, and emotions. Your mental state is at this level, and this person just drop everything down because you have to fill them up to some certain, level to even get your emotions right. So leveling up is not just financial. Leveling up is about emotions. When you meet somebody, if you're not on the same emotional level, don't stress yourself. If you meet somebody and you're not on the same mental level, don't stress yourself. If you meet somebody and they are not on the same psychological level, now I'm not talking about finances, I'm not talking about education, I'm just talking about normal common sense. When people say common sense is not common, no. Common sense is not common. Common sense is very, very, it's very, very expensive. It's something that people just ignore, people take for granted. But It's not common. It's not that simple. So level up financially, level up emotionally, level up psychologically, level up mentally. So if somebody you're with is not on that level and you think bringing them up to that level will drain your mental health, will affect you mentally, my dear, it's of no use. Don't stress yourself. Life is too short. So thank you very much for watching today's episode of Leveling Up. Don't let anybody pull you down to a level that you've, passed. Don't let anybody pull you down mentally, emotionally, financially, or even, psychologically. That is one of the things that people take for granted. Your psyche is very important. It is very important. Protect your mental health. So that is all I have to say about that. Thank you very much for watching. See you same time next week. Bye bye.